Sweet. So, Derek, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to chat with you guys.
Yeah,
Let,
this is
let,
going to
let
be
me let me
awesome.
introduce let me introduce Derek. Derek Teel from Dialed Health lives just down the hill from me, in Roseville or Rockland, Sacramento area. For the people who don't know what Roseville or Rockland is, but Derek, you've been my strength coach for like a year now. I really actually enjoy going to the gym. I never thought I would say that, but I do. It's something that like it's kind of new to me. It's been a long time since I was in the gym, but like to see those gains and improvements, that you get right away when you start something new it's fun. So
Yeah.
welcome to our humble little pod with Cole Kessler and myself.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was
Road
really excited to
Tales.
see that you guys are doing this.
It's
Yeah.
been fun. It's been
Our
fun.
idea was, idea was just to talk about the sport that, we've dedicated our lives to, but across a couple different generations and talk about the differences, the similarities. I think more than often it's just similar than different. What do you think,
Yeah,
Cole?
but actually, the biggest difference is, I think, probably strength training. I mean, I don't know too well your era,
Mm.
Levi, as we've as we've seen in the last pod. I didn't know who Andy Hampstead was, but for sure you guys didn't do gym, right?
I mean, if people did go to the gym, they were awfully secretive about it. Yeah, so
Really?
it wasn't really a thing. Like core work for sure, like pretty much only if someone had back issues or whatever, like asymmetry, they would do core work. I myself did. I actually hired a private Pilates instructor when I was
No
racing
way.
in the winter, but throughout the season, I just didn't keep up with it. And
Yeah.
there's a lot that I'd like to talk to you about around that, Derek. But yeah, you go ahead, Cole. Tell me what it's like for you in this generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, gym is now become, I guess, in the last 5 years, sort of, I guess, since I've started taking cycling really serious, gym has been a pretty big focus in my training. I mean, in the off season, for sure, it's 2 to 3 times a week. I guess, Derek, fill me in here if you have a better idea, but what I've been doing is like, it's high or low weight, high rep kind of explosive work. It's not like when you see bodybuilders squatting and doing their type of gym stuff. It's not the same as what cyclists are doing. Like we are doing sport specific work, no?
I think so, but I also think there's a lot of value in some really simple general movements as well. And that's what's funny right now is that I think coaches are trying to figure out what to do for strength training, and they're almost taking it straight to the marginal gains approach where it's like, what is the most specific sport specific thing, when it's like, wow, there's
Mm,
actually a lot of low hanging fruit because this cyclist can't even get his glutes activated, like period,
mm,
or
yeah.
they don't know how to brace their core. And because of that, they're just not efficiently using all the muscle that they do have. And
Mm,
so you're probably checking those boxes to where you can go a little bit more specific. But I'm seeing with the general pop and like coaches prescribing stuff that's almost too specific, in my opinion, where they could gain a lot from some simple movements. But I
mm,
think what is really important for every cyclist and honestly every endurance athlete is making sure that the overall frequency, the volume, and the intensity doesn't start interfering with their riding. That's one of the hardest things to get
yeah.
because you could be doing the same movement as a bodybuilder. Like, let's say you're both doing back squat, they're both great, but the bodybuilder might be doing like 60 total reps in a workout where you're doing 20 total.
Yeah.
And that is like the biggest difference. That's going to be the thing that makes or breaks your riding. So it's not to overcomplicate it, but there is a method to the madness, even with the simple movements.
Yeah. So if you were like an amateur cyclist who trains like, I don't know, 5 to 15 hours a week, it's a rough range of probably what most amateur cyclists train. What would be like a good few like type of things to do in the gym? Like let's say three things to do in the gym that wouldn't cause so much extra fatigue where they can't get on the bike.
If you were going to split it up into three things, I'd probably even it out across your body. So doing one lower body movement that is primarily focused on your posterior chain, like a deadlift or some type of a deadlift variation, that's going to strengthen a lot of muscles that are probably weak on the cyclist because everything is quad dominant. its anterior chain, so chest, like the front of your body is always
Yeah.
almost contracted and has a little bit of load on it. So doing something like a deadlift with really good form strengthens the entire posterior chain. And the first thing people think of sometimes is like, well, how is that going to translate to the bike? But what it's doing is balancing you out, and it's limiting the potential for an overuse injury. And it's
Mhm.
actually allowing the muscle groups to support the prime movers. Like you get the secondary muscles, like a hamstrings, for example, in a pedal stroke. They're obviously not the prime mover, but if they're not on at all, your
Mhm.
quads are going to do more work than they actually should. So
Yeah.
it's not about trying to get the hamstrings to do more than the quads do, for example, in the lower body, because that's impossible in a pedal stroke. It's just allowing them to work as much as they should to make sure your pedal stroke is as efficient as possible. So when you focus on that in the gym, it helps bring that to the bike because you can't really do it on the bike. And so that's what's funny is like you almost want to do things in the gym that you can't accomplish by like low cadence training or some other drill that you could replicate on the bike. So I
Yeah.
think a deadlift variation, something that hits your whole posterior chain, the backside of your body, is really great. I think doing some type of total body movement that's focused on your core is great. It's like Levi, I know you've probably done some. I know you've done Palloff presses. Have you done like the kettlebell plank drag or the dumbbell
Hmm.
drag where you drag it across your body?
Yeah.
This is a type of movement where imagine you're in a high plank, so you're on your hands and toes, and you have a dumbbell or a kettlebell right behind your wrist. You lift one arm up off the ground, you grab it and you drag it across your body, and then you alternate sides. That's an example of a total body core movement that teaches you to brace your core, but still move at the same time, which is
Mhm.
important because when you're riding, that's pretty much what you're doing. You have to brace and move at the same time.
Well,
So doing a
even
total body
in a
core
time
movement
trial
like that is
position,
important.
in a time trial
Dude,
position, your core is engaged the entire time, but at the same time, you need to be moving your legs rapidly, you know? So I think core
Hmm.
is super important.
yeah, Levi, I feel like you could speak on that better than anybody. Like, do you think is that something that comes to mind with your career and not strength training as much? Like your TT position was kind of ahead of its generation, but do you think it would have even been better? Like, I don't know if you want to ruminate on that kind of stuff, but like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I think I still suffer from a tight anterior chain in my upper body, like pecs, shoulders. They're still rounded from that. I have my elbows together, like fully, closed off, and it's
Mhm.
it's obviously not ideal for your body mechanics to be that way, but it was all about aerodynamics, which obviously is super important. But if I had been able to counteract that with some more posterior upper back work and posterior chain in general, for sure, I think in the end it would have resulted in, injury prevention, longevity, uh, better power transfer through the legs with more core bracing, like you said, especially because, on a road bike, at least your arms are pretty wide and you have good stability. But when your arms are like this, I mean, you don't have any stability. Like that's why you can't really corner in the aero bars.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and the power transfer is something that you really gain from doing those total body movements. It's also something that you gain from using free weights and using good form, like a free weight back squat versus like a leg press. It's not to say that the leg press isn't valuable because max strength, leg, force production, those things are there, but you probably should spend more time on a back squat or using free weights where you have to stabilize the weight because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, is it worth it to have this crazy strength if you can't actually use it? And that's
Mhm.
what happens like when people spend too much time on machines. And especially if you're not bodybuilding or you don't have this goal of just like how much muscle can I gain, you want to be able to control whatever strength that you build. So that's just kind of like a side note. I think I'm a big free weight guy, even though machines do have their value. But power transfer is huge for that core bracing. The third thing I would do in the gym would be some type of an upper body movement. A hanging scap retraction is really, really good for your shoulders, where you just hang on a bar and you don't even bend your elbows and you just move your shoulder blades. And it's actually your head's like going up 2 inches and then down 2 inches, up 2 inches.
Mm.
It's like doing like a shrug and then basically pulling your head up and out. These types of like movements or like a IYT fly on a Swiss ball. I know Levi's been all about these lately just for correction of posture where you're
Correcting
prone.
that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is like the antithesis of the TT position here. So
Hmm.
you're still prone, so your chest is on a Swiss ball. You do it on an incline bench too. And then you have 3-pound dumbbells. You can do it body weight. You can have 5-pound dumbbells, and you just reach the arms up, I and a Y and then a T, and you're just squeezing your shoulder blades. And it's all that upper back work. It's a similar thing that you get from hanging. I'm just also a big fan of the decompression you get with hanging. So, and the grip strength. So I'd probably throw the hanging scap retraction version up there as my other pick, but
Hmm.
anything for your upper body that's going to help with your posture is going to be huge.
Let
Interesting.
me take a stab at this, to kind of to go a little deeper into to exactly why we want to do these movements that are opposite of the bikes. Let's take the quad hamstring relationship for example. So if you just ride your bike and you're just using your quads, and eventually, if get you correct me if I'm wrong, but they're going to get tighter, shorter, and they're going to lose their elasticity and their full range of motion unless you address hamstring strength and health off the bike, which, like you said, we're quad dominant. We're using way more quad than hamstring, but the hamstrings help keep the quads healthy in order to be at 100% on the bike. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think you said that really well. And it's like that around your entire body. You know,
Hmm.
if your shoulder gets too tight, too rounded forward, well, now you could have like an impingement in your shoulder. And you're not going to want to be in a TT position when you have an impingement in your shoulder. And I mean, pain on the bike in your body will slow you down probably faster than any aero advantage would gain you. You know what I mean? It's like the importance of feeling comfortable on the bike so that you can ride your best and kind of just like turn your brain off and react and go and respond. Dude, like it should be the highest priority. So I feel like before someone starts training just with the idea of like more force production on the pedals, the first thought should be that long-term injury prevention, building the durability. It's almost like more of an insurance policy, like especially for teams and people working with the best athletes in the world, making sure that this base is covered seems like it's probably the best insurance policy on their investment. So uh, that is just like an angle to it that I think is underrated until you're injured. You know, it's like easy to shrug it off when you're not feeling an injury, but like the day you feel that way, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is top priority now. So it's good to be proactive and get ahead of it.
So for like the average cyclist who maybe doesn't have access to the gym, or, they have a busy schedule or something, and maybe they just got to do some stuff at home, are there a bunch of exercises that somebody can do that are body weight focused, or something that they can use around the home? Maybe they just have a kettlebell or some bands or something where they could do like a good 30, 45-minute workout and cover all the bases?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually funny. I'm turning my main product that direction a lot right now because of this reason. I think that even though we have to have a sports specific approach to the overall programming, when it comes to getting your workout done, you just have to start. Like y- people can overanalyze what to do to the point where that they never really get a good workout in. When in reality, like you're saying, 30 minutes body weight at home is totally enough to check all the boxes that we're talking about. It's just that down the road, there's going to be a point where you're going to get too fit for at-home workouts, and the body weight, like you'll have to up the reps so much that it almost turns into more of a like a hit workout, which we don't
Mm.
really want either, because we're trying to get your heart rate up and do any type of like most of the adaptation to your cardiovascular system, that should be happening on the bike. Like the strength should be the strength. It should be about mobility, corrective exercise, all these things. So there's just a point where, you're probably going to get too fit and you're going to need to add the load so that you don't have to just keep cranking up your heart rate to get a good workout in. So
Yeah.
I think that there is a point there where you're going to need to invest in some equipment, even if it's adjustable dumbbells and a bench. I think a pull-up bar should be one of the first things you get, a kettlebell. I also think that if you have access to a carbon road bike, you can't complain about investing in equipment. It's sure, I'll tell you what, gym equipment will last longer than almost anything that you own. It's crazy. So it is hard to bite the bullet on that stuff, but you can start slow. Start with some
And you can
bands,
you can
start
buy
with some
used equipment.
kettlebells. Yeah, there are a lot of
Hmm.
good used stuff out there too.
Yeah. Now
So I just
you
think
were
that go ahead.
sorry, you were touching on, like, in your 3 exercise routine, if you had to, one of them has to be upper body. A lot of cyclists, there's this, like, reputation in cycling that you cannot touch your upper body. Like, if you're gonna add weight on the frame, it's gotta be below the waist. What's your take on that? Because it seems like you're a big proponent of upper body work.
Yeah, I am for the foundation of staying healthy. I also understand that gaining legitimate upper body mass takes an insane amount of dedication, and it takes somebody who doesn't spend 20 hours on their bike a week on top of that.
Mhm.
So the reality of someone in your position gaining a significant amount of muscle mass in their upper body from doing a couple upper body workouts a week is very unrealistic. I think that you could gain a little bit of muscle, but then again, if it's muscle that you're able to use that helps you go faster, like if it's a pound there, it's like you have to start kind of weighing that out. You're like, well, is this really helping me be more stable and get more power transfer? Can I get more into an aero position now because I have this mobility and strength that I didn't have before? I also know that it doesn't happen overnight. So just weigh yourself every day. And if for some reason you're a freak of nature miracle and you're putting on upper body mass faster than every other human on the planet, then just back off at that point. But I think it's worth making time for initially and just play it by ear. Just pay attention to the scale. You can even take measurements of your arms, your chest, all those things. But I think it's worth starting at least doing 2 days a week of some simple movements purely for the injury prevention. And that's my take though. I mean, I definitely get the
Mm.
watt per kilo game. And I've never been in that position where I'm like, oh man, I lost this race on this climb by 5 seconds. If I was a pound lighter, I could have won. So I can't speak to it from that position that you guys are in. I mean, I'd probably be more curious on what you guys thought, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad that Cole breached this subject because this I think is a problem for someone like Cole or someone in the World Tour, and that's pretty much it because they're facing 10, 20 kilometer climbs at a time where if you put on a kilo, that's pretty detrimental. It's tough to haul it up that mountain. And when I look at myself, like now that I've been with you for a year, like my shoulders and my arms are way bigger than they've ever been. And if I were to think back to the days when I was doing that racing, like it just, especially in the mindset that we were at, like there was just no way. I would have freaked out. Like, oh my God, I got to get rid of this. I, I
Yeah.
mean, I will say I feel much healthier. My upper body is a lot stronger. I can like lift bags of groceries now. But it is a real concern, and I think that kind of trickles down into the sort of the recreational or the the serious masters cyclist who may have just been basically fed this philosophy that like it's all about power to weight and it doesn't matter how much strength you have. So obviously we're fighting against that, but how would you describe the routine that you've been giving me or other cyclists? And like obviously you're giving me, I never do below 8 reps, I've noticed, like, and I assume that's to stay away from putting on too much muscle. Is that correct?
It's more for wear and tear, to be honest,
Hmm.
because going low rep scheme high weight is the best thing you could do for max strength. But we've also been working on building up a base of strength for you. And so going lower than that, it just takes a toll on your body. Lifting heavy is super beneficial, but it I think what's not talked about on that side of things is really just the wear and tear that it has, from like a nervous system fatigue to just crazy soreness. When you're doing, like, I don't know if Cole, you've recently done like a 5x5 set of deadlifts or squats or something like that, but it could smoke you.
Well, dude, this past off season, I was changing teams, so like I wasn't really getting coached by my old coach, and I wasn't getting coached by my new coach yet. And I'd always like told myself like I'm a big guy, but I'm fairly skinny, so I like wanted to maybe try and gain like at least a kilo of weight. Uh, to just have more strength for the season. So I was like doing maximal reps in the gym for a month straight. And I have pretty bad DOMS. For people that don't know that, what that means, that's delayed onset muscle soreness. So like I'll go to the gym and like 2 days later I'll be like freaking sore as hell. And dude, I was sore for the next month after that. Like I was so fucked. I was ruined, bro. And so I learned the
Is that
lesson
a
the hard
lack
way
of
not to do
protein, Derek?
that.
Is that a lack of maybe a lack of protein? That was something we kind of figured out, right? Like your recovery
Mm-hmm.
felt off, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until you added the protein that it felt better.
Yeah.
So that's possible, but it's also it's just a hard stimulus on your body. To be honest, volume has a lot to do with muscle growth. Rep scheme is part of it, but rep scheme is more for the strength adaptation. If you really want to grow muscle like a bodybuilder, they might do sets of 8 to 12, but they'll do like 6 sets on one muscle group, and then they'll do a different version of that same exercise and do another like 40, 50 reps. And then they just like repeat, repeat, repeat. And they're, you know, a lot of bodybuilders would do like drop sets where it's like tricep extensions, start heavy, go to failure, drop the weight 20 pounds, go to failure, drop the weight 20 pounds. So like a lot of that volume and the isolation really helps with muscle growth. And yeah, Cole, you're shaking your head because like that'd be horrible to do as an
Yeah.
endurance athlete, period.
Oh my god.
But you're also doing like, 10,000 pedal strokes every 2 hours or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
the volume has a lot to do with that. And there was something that I was going to touch on with, I don't know if it was the rep scheme or, it was the upper body mass. There was one more thing I wanted to say on this. The weight when you're at the very top of the sport, for sure, like you got to keep a lid on it. It's not going to be easy to put on the mass, especially when you're still in that heavy dose of riding volume, because that's very catabolic. Like it's going to
Yeah.
naturally want to pull from muscle anyways. But one thing I really got to say, and I think you guys would be really great to chat about this with, from my position as at this point, I'm a recreational cyclist and it's my favorite thing to do. But to me, not doing any upper body work feels like a bigger sacrifice than putting on a couple pounds of muscle. Like I think that the pros, that's part of the game, is like you're kind of sacrificing your physique a little bit and your overall strength and health and wellness potentially for the pinnacle of this sport, which is great
Yeah.
for a period of time. And like I'm stoked you guys are doing it because it's the best thing to watch ever.
But this
But
guy,
Well,
not me.
dude,
I'm
I'll tell
out.
you what, I'm not doing this shit to look sexy. All right. Like I didn't choose to be a pro cyclist. I'm like, oh yeah, those guys, they look awesome. Like that, that's not what I'm doing this for.
What? You said
you
you weren't looking at me racing and thinking that? Whatever,
Sorry,
dude.
That's
Levi.
like,
Sorry, dude.
I know. Have you ever done that? You ever like walked out? I don't know. I've done this like fresh kit. Walk out to my wife. I'm like, come on, this is good. And she's like, you
Oh,
still look ridiculous.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%. We're a little bit delusional that we think we look awesome. Like our abs are showing through our kit, and we're like, yeah, look at me, I'm buff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my thing is like really thinking about, even for the top masters athlete, this is still a part of your life and it's not your whole life. And that's part of the joy that you can have in your position in the sport. Like you don't have to risk some crazy shoulder injury or breaking a collarbone every time you fall over because you don't have to go like win the tour. You're not a GC
Yeah.
ride. Like it's okay. Like good for you. You can have a little bit more of a frame and put on a little bit more muscle. Like to me, that's one of the great things about being an amateur cyclist to begin with. So I just think more people should embrace that. But
Yeah.
Levi, you
I
make a
think.
great point. Like the way stuff trickles down is like
Yeah.
hard to
And
refute.
I now that I'm like retired from that pointy end of the sport where, sometimes on it it's the final climb and it's 20K long and the margins are so razor thin between the cyclists, like yeah, 1 kilo matters for sure. But if you are in the US and you're doing these gravel events or you do some mountain bike racing or crit racing or whatever it is, like dude, you absolutely like the core strength and the shoulder arm strength, the upper body strength, it actually like makes you faster. There's no question because you have to handle your bike. It's rough terrain. Like it would just break a lot of skinny world tour climbers, for
Hmm.
example. So
Oh yeah.
um, and for me, my philosophy now, when I'm like, I ride my bike still, I do a lot of Nordic skiing, I'm in the gym, I'm training for the rest of my life to be sustainable and to still do the sports that I enjoy. That's my philosophy. Like if I continued to put on 30-hour weeks with all that intensity and not do anything else but touch my road bike, I mean, I wouldn't be healthy eventually because it's not
Hmm.
healthy to just do that to that extreme.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I think.
You know,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the further you go off road, like more toward mountain biking too, like the more obvious the upper body stuff
Hmm.
becomes for sure. Like especially as you're riding too, because even on my road bike, like if I'm out of the saddle for a long time, you just don't have that shoulder and tricep burn that you get when you're not as trained in your upper body. Like you do notice it on the road bike, the power transfer. Like when you're really pushing and everything's tight, you notice that. But like when you are on a mountain bike ride and you hit a 4 or 5 foot drop and you land hard and you're able to take the compression almost to the point where you can like push back into it and like that feeling of control, that's like where it's so easy to like hook a mountain biker, for example. Like if they haven't been doing some push-up variation or bench press and they go and they have that feeling where they're like, dude, I could feel like I could take any hit opposed to crumbling, that catches them really, really quick. So yeah, the
Hmm.
further, I'm
Yeah.
happy you brought that up. The more you go off road, the more obvious that stuff becomes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you watch the World Cup cross races these days, like those guys have to have upper body strength, like barriers and the way they can handle those bikes, it's mind blowing.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah. Even on these like classic courses too, dude, over the
Hmm.
cobble, like all that. Oh man.
Yeah, yeah, Cole.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
nice. I don't have any muscle in my arms, so when I'm going over the cobble, nothing's jiggling, you know? Imagine if you had a huge bicep and it was just fucking shaking all over the place. That would be horrible.
Yeah, but it would
No,
look
no.
sick in the slow mo.
Yeah, it would look cool, huh? No, I think actually I guess one of the main reasons why I like doing gym stuff is to have the peace of mind that I'm doing some weight bearing exercise so my bone density is good because as a cyclist, a
Mm.
professional cyclist, you really don't do any other exercise. Like you don't really run. Some guys run, but you're doing everything on the bike and there's no weight bearing to that. So your bones get mushy and you can just break bones really easy. You get brittle. So I think uh, if somebody was looking to do the gym for bone density, it's a really good option.
Agreed. Good. And another reason for you, like, let's just say, Cole, for example, you're like, man, I really don't want to touch the upper body very much. Even you loading a barbell on your back, well, at least you're getting some of that top down push, like you're getting a load bearing through your entire back opposed to just like the lower body itself. So that's more motivation too. Even the hanging from the bar, it's like that's not as load bearing, but like even just like grip strength, man. I mean, it's
Mhm.
hard for me to talk people out of like the upper body work just because it's like, oh my gosh, the way this stuff all translates, like even when you just talk about grip strength alone from like hanging on a bar for your entire life. So
I
yeah,
might, you
what do
know,
you
I
do?
might
What
try
are
it.
you
I
doing
might
right now
try
for
it.
upper body? Yeah.
Me? Nothing. I do
Yeah.
nothing. I do nothing. I mean,
So,
a
but
plank or I do some squats, like back squats, if that counts as upper body. But I think I might try the grip strength thing because that would be pretty.
that's where I
That'd be
wanted to go
neat.
with this. I want to see Derek to convince you about, like, let's say
Well,
how
look,
much time would he need to be able to hang in order to like survive the cobbles of Roubaix, for example, for grip strength? Like how much hang time does he need to work towards?
Uh I wish there was an exact calculation for that, but I would be totally guessing. I'll tell you, it's probably hanging for a little bit longer than you can do now. Just think of it that way.
all right.
Oh,
So what do I need to
but
work
then
up to?
again,
What if I'm like a freak and I can hang for like 5 minutes?
yeah, then you're made for the cobbles, dude. You have nothing to do in the gym. No, see, that's the thing is like you kind of have to explore this on your own and find some areas that could be weak points. But I'll tell you, okay, like let's say you're not doing any upper body strength right now. The mass is something that you really don't want to add. I think go for the bar hang and try the scap retraction or try the prone IYT fly like we talked about earlier. can you visualize the scap retraction? I can send you a video of it after, but
Yeah,
just
send me a video
imagine
because I'm
hanging on
having
a
trouble visualizing.
okay.
You're just like
That
pulling your shoulder blades together, like packing your shoulders, right?
Oh,
exactly.
okay, so, like
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I got you. So, like, the opposite of what I need to
Yeah,
But
do for a TT. I'm not shrugging, I'm opening.
exactly.
both. It's up and down as well though, because you're hanging, right?
You know what? That's a good point because when you go to the full dead hang, it's almost like stretching you into the TT position because
Mhm.
it's like
Mm,
shoulders up to ears.
Uh-huh.
So
hmm.
maybe that's a good
Well,
argument
now
to
now you're now
actually
you're
do
gonna
it.
convince me. Now you're gonna convince me. Just tell me
Yeah.
it's better for my TT position, and I'll do it.
Absolutely. Like the 100% and the IYT flies he's talking about, like that for sure is the antidote to the TT position and will make you more comfortable on the time trial bike. There's no question.
Mm, alright,
I'd be
alright.
curious to even like a rotator cuff external rotation with a dumbbell. You know, do high rep sets of 20, like a 10-pound dumbbell, maybe even a 5.
Mhm.
To hit everything in your rotator cuff, all these little muscles in your shoulder, doing that external rotation, that's also you externally rotating as your shoulders come in and up for TT position. But to
Mhm.
have more range of motion there, more strength, and then the stability to just handle the bumps, like, I don't know. I don't want to say you could turn into a good experiment for me and for Levi, but this might be
Dude, I'll
happening.
do it, bro. I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose,
Yeah, I
everything to
mean,
gain.
well, all he needs at home is like the exercise ball and a couple like maybe like you got to go pretty light on those IYTs, like 3 to 5 pounds, right? Like
Mhm.
Yeah,
they're tough.
Miss
yeah.
so
Like
just get, like, a
two,
little
three
grandma weight?
pieces of equipment.
Grandma
Yeah, like
weights.
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
surprisingly really hard because
Alright.
that
That's
time trial
one
position is just
exercise.
pulling. It's just pulling your scapula off your back, like in an unhealthy
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and the
Speaking of
weight's
these
at the end of
fun
your arms. It's like a long lever. So this is the one like soup can exercise you could do. This is the Jack LaLanne. Cole's definitely too young for that one.
Yeah,
Jack
yeah.
LaLanne, like the grandfather of fitness.
wait, I'm too young for Jack LaLanne. How do you? I mean, you're in the fitness industry, so you understand. But yeah,
So he would get like these women working out with soup cans and stuff at their house.
Richard
Back
Simmons.
I'm not going Richard Simmons on him.
Okay. He doesn't know
But
what we're talking
actually
about.
in your
No idea, just
Lycra,
over my
you know,
head.
that could work. But yeah, I mean, you could literally take a couple cans of soup and do the IYT
Mhm,
flies with it. It's such limited weight. So that'd be interesting to see. You do 3 sets twice a week. Interesting to
mhm.
see how you
Yeah,
felt. Just keep weighing yourself and make sure you don't gain muscle. But again, I'd be
yeah,
shocked if that made that much of a difference.
No,
yeah.
not cans of soup.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not I hope not. Um, so, Levi, do you do any pre-ride activation? Because this is a big thing now. People do pre-ride activation, like 30 minutes of band work or body weight stuff. I wanna know what you think, Derek, and because I wanna get into a good routine. I see a bunch of the top level guys doing this now, and I don't really have a great routine, I never got one, but I think it makes a difference. What do you think?
I'll let Derek take it. I think he's better. He's more
Y
qualified
yeah,
for this one.
yeah.
Dude, I just made a pre-ride activation video with a band. And this is kind of a shameless plug here, but like I did it because it makes that much of a difference. So here's the deal. Your body isn't firing 24/7. When you're coming off the couch, when you're getting out of bed, like you do have to wake things up and you have to get those neurological connections going. It's a daily thing. It is like if you don't use it, you lose it situation, but it can happen on an hour by hour basis. So if I were to get up from this chair right now after recording a podcast with you guys for like an hour, and I was going to go ride, I would absolutely want to do some pre-ride activation to get the muscles in my hips, in my glutes, in my core, all those things firing. So the second I get on the bike, the movement patterns are the way that they should be. It could take a while for that to happen. And this is how you can build up some of the compensations. So for anybody, this is for everybody, even if you're healthy, but especially if you experience any low back pain on the bike, period. If you experience any knee pain, any hip discomfort, you 100% should prioritize this. If you're someone that's healthy, it'd be worth checking in on because I'd be shocked if you didn't get on the bike and notice that you just felt more stable and just more fluid. So the reasons to do it would be wake up the muscles in your hips and core. Like I said, those will take the load off of your spine, get the glutes firing, get the hamstrings going to make sure that the quads are being supported the way that they should. And there's layers to the activation. Like you can do some single leg work that helps with stability. But to make it as simple as possible, get one of those mini loop bands. And I think most people are going to think of the clip of Tade doing this warm up before the UAE tour this last year, where he had a band around his knees and he's like laying on his back and he's doing abduction, so opening, closing the hips, and then he's doing like a split squat version. You just want to do abduction. So get the hips to externally rotate, so outward pressure on the band, and it's going to wake up your glute medius, this muscle in the outer upper corner of your hip. It's a knee stabilizer, and Cole knows it's supposed to be a light exercise, but after 10 reps, you start feeling it. By the 20th rep, it's like burning, and you woke that sucker up. When you go from that to doing a split squat with the band around your knees, you still have to use that band and create outward pressure so that your legs are aligned. But now you're actually using your glutes and your hamstrings in the squat, and you're waking up your quads, and you're getting everything to actually fire together. And so that type of an activation is what's going to help you get on the bike and make sure that your low back is not working harder than it should, or your quads aren't. So that's why it's become so important, because it's like a real-time change. It's like, again, it's something that you have to continue to do, but it's worth it because it's so obvious when you go from this like dormant kind of exhausted posture to getting things firing before you go. Like one thing I noticed personally is that instead of taking 30 minutes to feel good, like you're ready to do an effort on the bike, like sometimes you can roll out, and as soon as the heart rate gets up a little bit, you're like, dude, I'm like ready to go. Like things are firing. So even though it takes more time on the front end, it will pay dividends, especially if you have higher efforts that day. So
So
that was kind of like a
especially
word
important for a
vomit, but
TT.
yeah, dude, rolling out like high intensity, especially in that position, like I'd say mandatory. Like even if it's a 5-minute routine,
Mm.
totally worth it.
Derek, where can people, you said you just made this video, can people access that, or?
Yeah, I'll send you guys the link. I have a new platform that's all follow along videos, and thanks for even letting me plug it. But it's a 6-minute pre-ride band activation. You start on the ground. I'm in actually my kit as I'm doing it in my socks, and you basically work your way up to your feet. And the last movement is a little single leg stability. And then by the time the 6 minutes is over, you're ready to get on and pedal. So
Dude, I'm gonna have to
highly
follow that.
recommend.
I'm gonna have to try that. Yeah.
So no Turkish get-ups before riding? He has me
Definitely,
doing Turkish get-ups lately. Dude,
dude.
they're tough. Like I started with like 10-pound kettlebell because like just to learn, it's coordination really and like sequence. And then when I got up to like 25-pound kettlebell, dude, it was like it turned aerobic.
Yeah. It's a total body muscular endurance
Yeah.
exercise that it's like the translation. The word functional is so overused in the fitness
hmm
industry, but it's about as functional as it gets. Like, Cole, do you know what this exercise is?
No, no. Turkish get-ups, what
You're
is that?
I don't, how do you explain it?
so it's how it's been explained to me is that it's the most efficient way to get heavy weight from the ground up and over your head. So if you have a kettlebell and you're laying on your back with a bell in front of you, almost like a chest press, you roll to your side and work your way up to almost like a side plank, and then you're kneeling, and then you stand up like a lunge, and then you have the kettlebell overhead still. And so you're constantly changing the direction of pressure on your shoulder. So it's really good for shoulder stability and shoulder strength. But as you're doing that, like you have a leg coming through your body to kneeling, you're changing positions, you're going down to your elbow on the ground, you're rolling and using your abs coming up and down. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful exercise. I mean,
Yeah.
I will say that
It's
would be a great activation movement, but I
mhm.
bet 99% of the people listening to this would not want to do it.
Dude, that
I
sounds
mean, with
hard.
a 10-pound kettlebell, it's like it's not gonna tire you out. But it is a really great way to activate everything in your body, right?
Yeah. And that's like, I'm happy you brought up the not tiring out thing. That's probably the most important piece of information to really hit when you're talking about activation, is that it's not supposed to cause fatigue. It's just enough to wake everything up. The goal isn't really to break it down to the point where it's going to rebuild stronger. That's what you want to do in your strength workouts. The activation is really just prime your body and get everything that's there working as efficiently as possible. So if you feel like you get to the point where you're actually fatigued after an activation, it probably turned into a strength exercise like workout at some point during that.
So
So you
no
have to
no
back it off.
lactic acid. You don't want to build any lactic acid.
Not much. You should feel a little burn in the muscles you're trying to hit, but you go to the point where you just feel it and then you back off. You don't
hmm
really push through.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice.
You
Nice.
know what's one's hard that you have me do is the bottom up carry, where you
Mm,
walk around with the kettlebell in your arm, but it's upside down. Dude, that
yeah.
is surprisingly so hard on your shoulder. It's crazy. And it
That's
really
because you're doing it
exposes
right.
which shoulder is like weaker than the other one.
Yeah, Cole, that's another great one for you for grip strength and shoulder stability
Yeah.
because you have to get a pretty good grip on the bell for sure for to fall
Hmm.
over, but most of that balancing is happening at your shoulder blade and you're just walking in this position with the kettlebell straight up. And
Hmm.
Dude, so hard.
Dude, that
yeah,
sounds hard.
that's another good TT one.
It is a good TT one.
You
God,
know what,
Yeah.
Levi, you need to do a Turkish get up with a bottoms up position.
Ooh.
There you
oof,
go.
Have you done
dude, a
that?
double whammy.
Yes.
Damn.
Well, you really have to go light on that thing.
You do. You do, but it's just another fun, unique way to do it. More stability.
So that's the
Derek,
cool
I'm,
thing
I'm,
about working with you, Derek, is like, I mean, every few weeks, I'd go twice. I go to the gym twice a week. Tuesday is one workout. Thursday, Friday is a different workout. And I do those two for a few weeks at a time. And then it all changes. And like, I get to learn something new and I get to like kind of like figure out what kind of weight I can do and then work that weight up, get stronger at that, and then it all changes again. So it's always, your program is always like super interesting and entertaining, and I'm like I said, I'm enjoying it. I'm surprised.
Thanks, man. Well, it's been
Yeah.
cool that you've been so honest about the process too, because even at one point you needed to back off and you had to
Hmm.
fix a couple things with your body. And, it's been cool to see you really turn strength training into this like dial switch. Like,
Hmm.
I think this is a habit that a lot of high performing cyclists have is you start something and you're like, I'm gonna do this to the freaking max. Like,
Yeah.
oh, so
Right.
and so's doing this workout. Like, I'm gonna do that.
Hmm.
I'm gonna make it as hard and as like scientifically perfect as possible. But it's just even though you're a high performer in this one area, it can be so different. So I feel
Yeah.
like I've seen you have this mentality where you start really, really hot like that. And then you've stayed consistent and you've learned instead of just like backing off when you need to all the way, you've learned how to just dial it back a little bit. And that's something that I see a lot of people struggle. Like that transition's hard for them because they're like, if I
Hmm.
can't do it 110%, I don't wanna do it at all. And what's been cool to see you do is, like, dial it back to 90 for a week, and then dial it back to 80, and then up and push to 105, and then, like, dial it
Hmm.
back. And that's just how you have to get your body adjusted to strength training, and that's the only way you can do it consistently over time. I
Yeah.
just had to bring that up. Like, you've done a really good job of making that switch.
Well, thank you. I think that, and this is going to cross over to what I was trying to impart my knowledge to Cole a few weeks ago. Is I learned that from the bike, like intervals, day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. You can't continue to top the wattage you did every time. It's just impossible. And it's better to have the philosophy that you don't want to end every workout just on your knees. It's just not good for you, and it's a dead end
Mm,
road. And so like I've been able to I just learned that from all those years of putting in so much work on the bike, that it's a long game and
mm,
you have to play the long game. And if you don't, you have to finish with something left in the tank every time, because otherwise you're just going to break down, and it's like I said, it's a dead end road. So I've applied that to strength. I don't try to like, look at the guy next to me doing squats and match him or whatever. I want to like be able to get stronger, but not completely destroy myself. Everything, at the end of we're on Training Peaks, right? And it always asks like, how did I feel and how hard was it? And it's always like it was a moderately hard workout.
yeah,
I've never once logged one of your strength training sessions where I was like, oh my God, that was so hard. Like I'm wrecked. That's just not the thing to do ever. Not on the bike and
totally.
not on the gym.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Cool. How are you with that? Like, do you have a hard time leaving stuff in the tank for the next day, or is it the other way around? Like, what's your
Yeah, I
training habit
mean,
like around that?
I think I'm getting better on the bike. I'm getting wiser as the days go on. I think in part because I've ridden with Uncle Levi so much. But in the gym, I find it hard because if you're like, some of the stuff that gets prescribed to me, it's so easy, I feel like I'm not getting a workout. Like, for the squats, for example, we, like, dialed in, like, the perfect weight for me. So when I was on Trek, we did, like, a test to see how fast you can get the weight up, and until, like, you couldn't get it up to a certain speed, then that was the weight that you were stuck with. So mine was, like, I don't know, it would be like, in pounds, it'd be the bar plus a 25 on each side. So this is like baby weight. And I feel like I'm like not even doing anything. And I'm like barely going down and then I'm exploding up. And it's like it's hard, but it doesn't feel like it's like doing
Mm.
anything. And that's what I struggle with because like on the bike, like today, for example, I did 40/20s on the indoor trainer. And dude, I was fucked at the end. Like it was that I felt like I was getting a good workout in. But like in some gym workouts, I feel like I'm not getting much. So, I mean, it is something that I struggle with, like it not feeling hard, you know?
Can I ask you about that a little bit? So the whole point was power for the gym workouts you were doing with Trek. So like they're saying once you can't move it past this speed, that's your weight, and then you got to work up to the point where you can move it this fast, and then we can add weight essentially, right? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all focused on like just power, explosivity, right?
yeah.
I necessarily strength.
Correct, correct.
How did they measure that? Was that with a force plate?
Yeah, so like they had a computer and some program on the computer, and then they had like these little clips that would go onto each end of the bar, and then when you would explode up, it would like show the seconds or whatever that it took for the bar to move up, and then I guess if it took a certain amount of time, like there was a certain threshold that it would cross, and then they knew that that was too much weight, and you had to drop down to the weight that you could go quick up. And then they would like determine the amount of reps that you do, and then you do. It ended up being like that weight that I told you, and I would do like 4 sets of 8 reps, and that was it.
Interesting. Interesting. That's good to know. I mean, you're definitely developing power if you're moving it as fast as you can. But I could see how it doesn't translate as well if you're not doing maybe exercise to support around it. I don't know. I'm kind of like curious to dive into that a little bit more, you
Yeah,
know?
well, it's like you're exploding so fast up that like some guys they're literally jumping. Like they're like squatting with such a low
Yeah.
weight that they are like getting off the ground. And it's just
Was it
it's
a
different than
full depth squat? Was it like a half squat onto a
no,
box?
it's like it's dude, it's less than a half squat. You're like going down a quarter of the way and then just like exploding as fast as you can up. It's interesting. You're not sitting down onto a
Mm.
box. You're like going halfway down to sitting on a box.
I know that a lot of teams
Well,
or
that makes sense
trainers.
with the short cranks these days.
Yeah, well, exactly. I was gonna say it probably matched what your uh, knee angle was like on the bike,
Yeah, yeah,
especially with
exactly.
150 mil cranks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, he's on
yeah.
like 140s now, I think. 140s?
Yeah, 130s.
Oh, oh, oh,
I
that guy went to 140s. I'm going to go to
yeah.
130s.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see when this stops. This reminds me of mountain biking when the bars got wider and it got to like
Mhm.
800 mils, and I was just like, "What? 820? Like, what are you doing?" You know?
Yeah.
Because I think Levi I told you I put 135s on my mountain bike when I was coming back from my injury,
Oh,
just to like
yeah.
stretch my knee back out, and even that felt ridiculous. Like there's for sure got to be I wonder when
There's
that
gotta be a
point is.
point.
Like, what do you guys think it is? It
I
can't
I
mean,
go
there's
mean,
below 150,
it
right?
it
there's
can't be
not a ton of studies out there,
150s,
but
yeah.
I think 145, they definitely started to see a drop off below 145. Like it's just not enough leverage. But apparently between like 145, 150 and 190, there's not a lot of power difference. It really just comes down to range of motion and comfort on the bike. And obviously that's different for different height people,
Yeah.
different height riders.
Yeah. So cool with your with that short range of motion on the squat. I think what's interesting is that for one, it is a very valuable, very sports specific movement that you could do. Like you could do it with low box step ups, but typically you would want to periodize a strength program to get you to that power to improve the power. So like for you to go, let's just say like your primary goal was to get heavier weight on that bar and move it faster in those workouts, which we know your primary goal is everything that you're doing on the bike, right? So this is kind of more of a supportive piece. So that's where there's a bigger picture that you have to look at. But let's just say that your goal was to move that bar with heavier weight at the same speed. Going back to like a hypertrophy rep range, like the 8 to 12 reps, and building some volume and building a little bit of potential muscle mass to then drop it into like the 5 to 6 rep range where you go more max strength. So now you have more mass that you're training to get stronger. And then you go to maybe a similar rep range, but now it's like explosive, like what you're
Mhm.
doing. That process is how you would get that bar to basically move the same speed with more weight. Like you would cycle through that process. And that's the
Mm.
periodization that like a weightlifter, if that was your goal, would kind of go through to push that sucker up. And so if you weren't the thing is like in a cycling season, how do you go through that full periodization process? Like you probably don't. Maybe you do one cycle during the winter, and then throughout the summer, you may not lift a bar at all. And like I'm actually kind of curious about this. Like through the summer, like let's just say do you ever have more than a 3-week gap of no racing? Like will you go a month without racing?
Sometimes, yeah, but I actually really wanted to ask you because, like, in the off season, I'm in like one place for a good chunk of time, so I'm able to be in the gym for like 3 months straight, have a good routine and everything. But then, like, as soon as I travel over to Europe and the races start, man, with all the traveling and back and forth and needing rest and stuff, it's really hard for me to find like a good routine to fall into to get into the gym.
Mhm.
How much
Mhm.
gym do I need to do to maintain? Like, what's a good maintenance load of gym work?
Well, the frequency based off the science is 1 day a week. But I think that's a very slippery slope to just losing gains because the likeliness of missing a workout, now you're for sure losing fitness. And the likelihood that you're doing a workout to the same intensity during the summer is probably lower too. So I believe the same frequency of 2 days per week is still ideal, and you just lower the intensity.
Mm,
You probably have to lower the volume a little bit too, but I think what your workouts should look like during the summer are closer to what your pre-ride activation and core routine is, just like another set or two.
okay.
And ideally, if you have, more than a week between races, and of course, there's like recovery and fatigue that you would have to consider with the team. But if you could do a base activation core routine and then sprinkle on like a little bit of heavier movement or something explosive, or you're able to at least hang from a bar or pick up a heavy set of dumbbells and do like one farmer's carry, that will really help you maintain a lot more
Uh,
than, in my opinion, 1 day a week, because the 1 day a week intensity, again, it's like the likelihood of having DOMs from training 1 day a week also goes way higher. And the last thing that you want is to be sore, like when you're trying to
yeah.
ride. So that's the thing. It's that I'm trying to figure this out too, but the science will point to 1 day per week. I don't think it's as realistic to really maintain with that because of those reasons. So I still think 2 days per week is the way to go. Just lower the intensity, and potentially the volume of each individual session. But you'll know that, okay, I'm still going through my activation. The body's still primed. I'm still getting the core work to maintain. And as long as I can get like one little sprinkle of heavy, throw a teammate on your back, brace your core, and walk around for 50 feet. I'm probably not the safest thing to do, but like that's probably what I would do to get some type of a heavy load or just some core bracing. So that would be my recommendation. Um,
I really enjoy those farmer carries that he
Is
mentioned.
that
Like,
where you just have weight in both
so
hands
good.
and you just walk a certain distance and turn around and walk back?
yeah,
Yep.
That's
Yep.
gotta be good, like a
and
good
when you
trap
set the
and
weight down, yeah, it totally like stretches your traps. And when you set the weight
yeah,
down, and you start walking for normal. You're just like, oh my god, I feel so good.
You do.
yeah.
You feel like
Yeah,
such a more powerful human being.
yeah.
You're just like, yeah, it's great. And again, that's grip strength, shoulders. You're getting interesting because you're holding the weight, but it's still through your shoulders. So you're kind of getting that
Mhm.
top down compression through your spine. So that type of just load, that is going to help you maintain a lot more strength than
Little bit of
the
bone
1 day a
density as
week.
well.
What's that?
Little bit of bone density stimulation as well.
Yeah. See, that's the thing too, Cole, is that you don't want to have to fully start over every season. Like it would be great for you. Okay, let's just say that 3 months in the gym, you do legitimately get stronger. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully it's not a steady decline for the next like 6 to 8 months as you get through the season back to the gym and then you're back at the starting point. Like
Dude, it is,
it's going to be
unfortunately.
a decline, but how much of a decline is the question. And if it's, less of a decline every year, then like, year over year for 5 years, you're legitimately stronger every year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's just another thing. It's like,
It's the
yes, people
long
are
game.
training it's the long game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, consistency is key then. Yeah, then I starting now, I'm gonna go to the gym every week until I retire. How about that?
You heard it, Levi.
Or I mean, for me, this is just my preference, but if I were you, I would just get a few simple things to have in your apartment because you're going to be tired and you're like, I don't want to go to the gym, but where if they were just
Yeah.
sitting on your floor, you're way more likely to stay with it than having to
Yeah.
go to the gym.
No,
Unless
Yeah.
100%.
you
I've
really like
I've
going to the
totally
gym, but
skipped gym sessions because I've just been too tired. Like sometimes it
mhm,
lines up where you have a 6 hour day and you come back and you have a gym session and you're like, oh my God, there's no way I'm about to go
uh-huh.
to the gym right now.
If you get a heavy loop band, you could do like I I'm not gonna call them heavy deadlifts like in your apartment, but like, all right, let's just say you do want to get something in, and let's say you're like, okay, what's the most productive thing I could do? I was just on the bike for 6 hours. It would be probably some posterior chain focused exercise like a deadlift. If you have a loop band that's legitimately heavy and you put it underneath your feet and you grab both sides of it and you start doing some deadlifts with that, and your arms are down at your sides. So you are getting some top down load, but you could really get your hamstrings, glutes back firing just by doing a couple sets of that and potentially maintain a lot of strength that way too. I mean, I think Levi, that's a really good idea is to bring bands. It's probably the most realistic thing. You could
Mhm.
bring some mini loop bands. You could bring like one light long loop band and then like one heavy one.
They
And
go in your suitcase.
yeah, you can also use them to stretch, which is pretty good too. But that covers a
Yeah.
couple bases because there's a lot you can do with your body weight. But it's usually the back exercises that are the hardest to get to. Like there are back exercises, like versions of that IYT you can do on the ground. But unless you have a bar to hang from or something to pull, it's really hard to like actually do something significant for your back, or unless you have something like heavy to pick up. So a heavy loop band could be the trick for you.
Mm, yeah. Like Levi, in a grand tour, would you do gym? Like that's 3 weeks. That's almost a month of no
Hell
gym.
no. No way. Dude,
No way.
like
So then
if
you're
you got
detraining. You're sacrificing gains, bro.
oh yeah, but I mean, you're so tired. Like if you get to the hotel and there's not an elevator and your room is like on the third floor, that's all the gym work that I would ever do. Like climbing those stairs and coming back down for dinner and then having to go back up for bedtime. Like
What about
no,
activation? Would you do activation, like a
I
little
mean,
activation?
no, we didn't. But like we were stupid not to, for sure.
Cole, would you do some activation like Grand Tour day in day out? I mean, to me that seems like a necessity, but
No,
Well,
for
I
sure.
wouldn't
obviously,
I
look
wouldn't
I'm
at
gonna
recommend someone
this.
strength
Tade.
training either during a Grand Tour, just for the record.
Okay. No, for sure. This season, I'm going to make it a habit that I do activation before every ride and race because I was in a good habit for one stage race last year, and I did activation and core every day, and I felt amazing that whole race. Even after a crash, like I
Love it.
crashed and I wasn't all fucked up the next day. Like my body felt fine. So I think I'm gonna try and implement that this year. I think it'll be good.
I'll send you my
Yeah,
video for the
yeah,
pre-ride band activation.
yeah. We need to
Sweet, that'd
include
be a
that
huge help.
in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Well, dude,
I
it's
think
been a
that's
Definitely.
that
freaking
might be a
pleasure,
good that
man.
might be a good note for us. Yeah, it's a good note for us to
Yeah.
stop on that, huh?
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Derek, for
Should we
coming
make
on.
it
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm gonna do? All right, guys, for the Road Tail listeners, we're gonna make
Ooh.
this pre-ride band activation video for free. I'm gonna go set it to free
Oh.
on that website so that you don't have to be a member to go and use it. And do it for Cole, okay? Do it for Cole.
Wow.
It's gonna be it's gonna be free on there, so you guys can try it out. 6 minutes, and I'll just send you the link to that, Cole, and that'll be the easiest thing to do.
Awesome. Thanks,
Awesome,
dude.
Derek.
What do
That's
you want to plug?
great.
Anything
Yeah.
anything you want to plug, your website, everything, now's the time.
Yeah,
Let
I
let
you know,
me
I
let me let me plug for you, Derek. I
thank you,
mean,
Levi.
if anyone out there has the money to spend on like, I mean, I'm a big believer in having a coach tell me what to do because it just makes things so much easier than self-prescribing. And we're not objective when it comes to ourselves of like writing training programs and going to the gym and being like, okay, what do I do? Do I squat? Do I use this machine? Like I've been so happy with having Derek just tell me what to do and I look at it and I follow it. It's like mentally just so easy and I feel great from the program. And like I said before, it's super entertaining. So if anyone out there has the money to invest in Dialed Health, I can't recommend it enough. It's been a pleasure, Derek.
Dude, thank you so much. And
Hmm.
yeah, with Levi, I do one-on-one through Training Peaks, and that is an option. My main product is the subscription to the programs or to the follow-along workouts. So whichever you prefer, whichever style is up for grabs. So I can send you guys both the links, but everything's
Hmm.
through Dialed Health, social media. I have my own podcast that comes out every single Monday. So we'll have to, turn the tables. And Levi, we've had you on, actually.
Hmm.
Cole, we'll have to get you on at some point.
Yeah,
Sweet.
once
I'd
Cole
love
starts
to.
doing all of his activation, then he should jump on for sure.
Yes, as a
Cool.
testimonial.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Sweet.
guys.
Thanks, Derek, so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks, Derek. See ya.